I'm here with actor and musician Daniel LeClaire. Thank you so much for taking time to meet up with me before your excursion that you're going on in 20 minutes from now.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, 20 minutes.
So talk a little bit about when you first decided that you wanted to be a performer. When did you first realize you wanted to do it full time?
Yeah, well, when I wanted to do it full time was probably in high school. I did show choir, and I didn't really know how that could transition into real life because it doesn't. Show choir is this made up world for high schoolers, and I knew I wanted to dance and sing.
Mm-hmm.
So I met with one of my mentors from show choir, and he said, you have to go to New York and you're perfect for Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. I went to school and trained for that and started doing theater, and graduated when I was 19 and started doing regional theater right away.
Wow.
And
that was some of your first roles?
I was in High School Musical. It was my first professional job.
Yeah.
And that was in Fort Myers, Florida.
Uh-huh.
And then I did...
Is that when you played Troy, or is this
No, that was the second time.
Yeah.
That was High School Musical 2 in Cincinnati. And then I did All Shook Up, which was probably one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
Did that in Phoenix. Yeah, and then I ended up moving to LA.
And what brought you back here to New York?
A relationship. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's all.
Is that good though? Was it a good decision in terms of
my career? Absolutely.
In terms of career,
yes. I usually make good decisions, but a lot of my decisions are based off of relationships sometimes because I'm a big empath. I'm very sensitive and a creative, sensitive guy. So when I find someone that can support me and have that, it's kind of important to me, and that was that. But it is no more.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't really mean to go that personally. I just meant.
No, it's good. It's
I just
good.
didn't know if that
if you
opened
listen
up
to my music, it's all there. So
well,
you don't.
When did you decide, or that music was going to be your primary focus?
So going back to another ex, I went.
It's not me, it's you.
It's not. I went to St. Louis, so I was on tour, and I met this one on tour, and hit it off. And 4 months later, I left the Book of Mormon to move to St. Louis, and I opened a jazz speakeasy, and I always knew that I wanted to write and record. But I never knew what I was capable of.
Yeah.
And I met this guy Ron Bryant. He's a pianist, and he quickly became my musical director. We had this speakeasy where I would perform almost every night, and it was just him and I, him and myself. We did everything from Great American Songbook to all jazz types, blues, soul, pop, singer-songwriter, and it really honed in on the voice that I created, and he helped create too. So that was the city where I realized that I was not so much meant for Broadway. I was more meant for the recording and live concert scene, and it really trained my voice there.
Was that a hit to your ego a little bit or was that more of a confidence booster?
No, that was good. Yeah. That was really good.
Because why waste time in something you don't feel you're going to excel at?
Yeah, because I felt this void. I love theater. I love theater, but I don't agree that shows should be 8 shows a week. I think 7 is okay. I think mentally and physically, your body needs at least 2 days off from anything. I mean, people with 9-to-5 jobs have 2 days off, and they're not exerting their body.
And there's
they're
probably a
mind.
misconception about Broadway performers that, they only do it for 3 hours a day, and that's...
Right, you only work 26 hours a week, but you have no idea what goes into that.
Right.
Those 3 hours are physically and mentally exhausting.
Well, not only that, but you're not just doing the...
And you're not just doing that, you're
there's
rehearsing.
Costume fittings, there's rehearsing.
Press.
For press, there's a whole bunch of things. It's not just a 3-hour thing. It's
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a fun career.
Oh, absolutely. But it's also not...
It's also
shouldn't
not...
be looked at as, they only work 3 hours a day. Because that's not an accurate classification.
Yeah.
So when you first started writing your own music, what were some of the subjects that you touched on? Were they personal in nature?
Very.
Yeah.
They were and this is the thing. I mean, with anything you do, you know, you get better with time. And I started writing. I started writing when I was younger, but I never started writing music. I just wrote, and I didn't know that I could make music. And when I got to St. Louis, I started writing music, and I realized after that breakup that the best music that I write is through heartache. And the thing that I learned the most from that is the more specific you get, the more people can relate to it.
Absolutely, and it's it's cathartic.
It's cathartic
for you as an artist, but it's also cathartic for the person
therapy.
because it's like, wow, they're going through the same thing, and you know.
And the most wonderful releasing thing that I can do as an artist is heal and help somebody through something that I've been through. But at the same time, it brings up so many emotions with me when I keep singing these songs and taking me back to those times where it brings me joy because I got it out.
Right.
I got it out. I wrote it out, and people hear it.
Do you realize the magnitude of what you're doing when you're doing it, that you are connecting so much with other people? Because even though acting, you're connecting, I think singing is even more of a connection because you're really like getting at the heart of things.
I think I do realize that, and I think even when I'm writing it, I know exactly which, like this last song that I wrote about this last relationship. I knew before I even played it for anyone. I knew that this was going to be the song that people were going to be like, oh wow, he's really taking this career seriously.
Do you are you going to Nashville because you feel there's more of an opportunity for music to be made down there, and it's just a different ballgame than
New York
and LA?
New York is, well, the LA music scene is cool and it's fun, but I don't feel like it's a big singer-songwriter scene.
Right.
I feel like the whole recording business has moved to Nashville.
Absolutely, 100%.
Past 4 or 5 years, it's just, I mean, it's like a small LA now. Everybody's there.
Yep.
And I think New York, for me personally, was incredible for my career. I did some awesome, incredible concerts, made some great connections here. I've done some of the most fun things I've done with my career here. But it's not a happiness city for my soul. So career, yes, but soul, no.
Yeah.
So my heart says, find somewhere else where they both can be at that same level. And I know that that's out there, and I won't stop until I find that.
You've mentioned that you write a lot about your relationships. Is there anything that you've written about that was harder than writing about your relationships? In terms of like, platonic relationships.
Yeah.
But is there
like friendships?
Either friendships or like relationships with a family member or somebody passing away or anything like that?
Yeah, well, one of my most rewarding songs I wrote was actually, I'm not ever going to release it, but it was for my best friend's wedding. It was very personal, and they got married in Punta Cana, and I played it for their dance.
Oh, that's awesome.
After they got married. I've written political songs about, the past presidency.
Unfortunately, it's not the past presidency at this point.
It is
the current president.
The current presidency. Pains me to say that.
Yes, it does. As I to hear it.
Right. Feels like years ago. It was years ago. But yeah, I wrote a lot about that. With growing up in Wisconsin, I have a lot of family that don't see the same way that I do. So that was one of those.
So, in other words, the emotions are different now because it's other kind of relationships that you thought were not stronger, because it doesn't mean if you don't agree politically, doesn't mean your relationship's not as strong, but it changes the dynamic.
It changes the dynamic heavily. Yeah.
Is it easier to write songs about those kinds of relationships versus, the not platonic, the romantic ones?
I find it easiest, heartbreak is easiest for me.
Yeah.
And I like to find a way to make my heartbroken songs kind of feel good. I usually don't write unless I'm inspired.
Mhm.
So I'm not one of those who's like, let's do a work session.
Right,
Like, let's
right.
do a writing session. I'm not like, let's go get together and write something. I can't do that.
Every artist has their own way of doing things.
Right. And I feel like for me, that's not my authentic artistry. I feel like that's forceful. But I'm sure at some point in my career, I'm going to have to do that.
Yeah. Is there a genre of music that scares you that you wouldn't even attempt to do, or
Heavy metal.
heavy metal? Yeah.
I actually like love rap. I would totally love to rap on one of my albums.
Mhm.
I really like country.
Yeah.
I actually thoroughly enjoy country. I would love to do like a country-ish song,
Yeah.
maybe. And I'm sure I'll be very inspired by Nashville.
And yeah, I was gonna say pop and country kind of go hand in hand these days.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of crossovers. So
Yeah,
you
they really
definitely
do.
Do that. Do you have new stuff that you're already sitting on? So when you go down there, you can go down there, balls to the wall.
Yeah, I do. I'm really excited.
And you have contacts down there already, where you're going down there.
Yep.
I was gonna say blind, but fresh.
Yep, one of my
Yeah.
writers is down there, my producer's down there, my best friend from Book of Mormon is down there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Are you nervous about it at all, or do you know in your
I
heart
mean,
this is the right thing to do?
I think if I wasn't at all nervous, I'd be a little bit of a sociopath.
There's plenty of those.
Right, there are. I'm a bit nervous, but I'm such a gypsy.
Yeah.
I toured for 3 years. I've
you're
lived
used
out
to
of
it.
suitcases for basically all my 20s,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I'll ever stop. I really don't. I'm not like searching for happiness
Mm-hmm.
because I find that wherever I am, but I am searching for that feeling where I know that I belong, and it's just right.
So you're not really one of the people. Home is where your heart is, but not necessarily where you were raised.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll always have Wisconsin. My entire family's there. But I also consider LA my home. I was there for almost all my 20s, back and forth, with tour. And that's where I moved when I was 21 to start recording, and got Book of Mormon and did like Hairspray at the Hollywood Bowl. And that's where I feel like I really started my adulthood.
Yeah. One of the projects that you've been working on off and on while you were here is the boy band project.
Oh, yeah.
What was that like for you, being
Oh my
a boy band
gosh.
member? And then, at least when I
Oh.
saw you, you didn't play the sensitive one.
I
You
didn't.
You
I
had
didn't.
Nick Metcalf actually make an appearance at a concert.
Yeah. I love, boy band has brought me the most joy that New York could bring me. Travis Nesbitt really created something really
Oh, yeah.
special.
Absolutely.
I love it. It's opened me up to a fun world that I just didn't know that I really needed. I've always wanted to be in a boy band. I've always wanted to just sing boy band songs. If I go to karaoke, it's always Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Like God must have spent a little more time on you,
And your
And-
perfect shot opened up to be the sensitive
Right.
one, since Nick failed for 6 months.
Yeah, now I get to make money doing it.
Yeah, that's all. That's
Yeah,
true.
we're actually headed out to a casino tonight
Oh, very
in
cool.
West Virginia.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's fun.
What's the reaction? Have you gone on tour with Boy Band Project?
Yeah, I've done a lot.
Yeah.
I've done quite a
What's
few.
the reaction like in different sections of?
They don't know what they're getting themselves into. Some of it, everyone ends up loving it.
Yeah. You
It's-
have to have no soul if you don't like it.
Right. I mean, yeah. If you don't have a soul and don't like 90s,
Yeah.
2000s,
Then don't go.
Then don't go.
Soulless,
Yeah.
anti-90 people.
exactly.
Stay
I don't
away.
think they know. I don't think people know how heavy we get into it.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it
it's no
is
joke.
full choreo,
Yeah.
full dance, full song, like yeah. So I think people are taken aback at the beginning. They're like, oh wow, and
Right.
then they're like,
it's
okay,
not really a parody.
It's not
actually like a concert.
right, right. Yeah, but it's been my saving grace of New York. It's been great. I started in April, and have been doing it nonstop.
And now with going down to Nashville, there's always the opportunity to do it down there as well.
We'll definitely do it down there. I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna fly out for events and stuff.
You're
so.
gonna come back here for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. What is one of the things you're most excited about doing when you get to Nashville, aside from the music aspect of it?
Oh, aside from music,
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go to every music venue and sing
Yeah.
my face off. But I'm really excited for the grounded people. I'm really excited to have kind of a sit back city
Mm-hmm.
instead of a really forward city.
Right.
This city's very narcissistic.
And it's always going,
Yeah,
going
and
at
I don't mean
1,000
that in a
miles an
negative
hour.
way.
No.
I think it's a beautiful thing to be. Narcissism isn't a bad thing.
Right.
I think it's great to be focused on yourself, but when you're so blinded that you don't see that it affects other people, it's almost sociopathic.
Yeah.
Actually, that's pretty much the definition. But I'm really excited for the people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For people who aren't familiar with your music, and we'll link
Yeah.
it up in the line bio in here. But what would you say to somebody who doesn't know your music that you want to kind of not sell yourself, but like, this is what I'm about? What would you say?
Oh gosh, I guess I'd say like my music is similar. I would call it coastal driving pop.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is just straight pop. A lot of it isn't released yet, which is why I'm going to Nashville, because I've been waiting for the right team to release it. So I've been sitting on my first album for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you feel it's still relevant?
Very.
Yeah.
Absolutely, very. It was very
Well,
ahead of its
good
time.
music never goes out of
Right.
style.
And it's singer-songwriter too, but it's all piano-based. I write everything piano-based. We record piano, then vocals, and then drums live, and then everything else is produced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I would say, I guess if I were to put artists together to describe it, like Lorde mixed with Ed Sheeran,
Nice.
kind of a Bon Iver sort of vibe. Yeah, ethereal, coastal driving. It's like dream pop almost.
Nice.
It's a lot of description.
I have a feeling you're going to do really well down there, and I'm really excited for you.
Thank
And
you.
the next time you come up here, we'll
Thank you.
hopefully sit down and talk all about your success down there.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you
Cool.
so much.
Thank
Daniel.
you.
It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah.